And then the next thing to say is a couple of sort of just beginning of thinking about some values as you begin to think about going live on Zoom. And the first one is, remember where your camera is and wave at it, look at it and smile at it. There's the most important effective thing you can do is smile. Margaret, are you hiding behind Roy deliberately to keep out of shot?
There she is.
But it's helpful to remember when you're on screen that what does it look like? Depending on where you are, what's your background like? How close do you get to the screen? My screen is a bit lower than normal because it means you can look up my nostrils, which is not always a flattering look. The ideal position is you really want the camera to be just fractionally above the sight of your eyes. But because I'm going to be using my keyboard, I'm on a laptop at the moment, then I need to be able to get my hands down here. But it's just remembering that the impression you give. It's also in terms of leading worship and things like that, it's about remembering that we're not professionals. And if we're trying to be very professional, then we'll lose the very thing which makes local streamed live worship and recorded worship really effective. Is it's people who you know and people who know you, and you're continuing a relationship which already exists. So to have that sense of it's okay to be as good as you can be, but mistakes and things like that are fine. It's not a problem. And if it's done with a smile on your face and you're looking at the camera, then it makes life a lot easier. It's also really important that when you do things like this is that you let everybody know as they join you what's going to be happening. So for example, that I'm going to be recording it now. So if you want to, so people know what's happening, and that way they're giving permission for whatever it is that you're doing, because if they remain in sight, then it means they're happy to remain in sight. If you don't tell them, they can then later on tell you that you didn't tell them and they didn't realize. So it's important to be very explicit about what it is you're going to do with what you're recording, where it's going to appear, and all those sorts of things as well. It's also really helpful to think about the way in which you are perceived. What are you trying to do? If you're trying to do a service which is fairly formal, then perhaps a clerical shirt and a collar, or even robes if you're doing something more liturgical, quite appropriate. But if you're doing a relaxed, informal style service, then you're wearing your robes and things like that, then that doesn't look so good. So it's about thinking about what impression do I want to create? What's the environment I create as I'm doing this event and activity? And then just to remember to smile, because smiling is really important. Terry Wogan, when I was a young lad, I did some work with with BBC Radio Bristol, and it happened to be the first week I was there, Terry Wogan was visiting in Bristol and was doing something, and he came into the studio where I was working as a PA, production assistant, and he said to Andy Coker, who was presenting the show, off microphone, he said, the secret is, I think that there's only one person out there who's listening to me. It's my favourite person in the world, and I'm going to smile at them even if they can't see me. And I think that's really important, because that smile is what creates the warmth on what you do. It's true if you're preaching, if you're leading worship in public, as well as if you're doing it on the internet. That ability to smile and to have warmth in your voice comes from smiling. It's very difficult to be really warm if you've got your face down and things like that. It's a smile just brings the warmth into what you're doing around you. So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to take you through how I prepare for worship on Sunday with a live stream and a pre-recorded service, and how those different bits work together and how I do that. If you've got questions and they're sort of helpful to ask at that point, then do ask them. But also we'll have a chance to ask questions at the end if you want to. And then I'll make this available on my Facebook feed later on. So if you've got things you meant to ask and you didn't realise after, you can send me a message and I'll try and answer it at that point. The first thing I'm just going to show you is, because I know it's a question which people have asked, is how do you stream live from Zoom into Facebook or YouTube. And to do this, I'm going to share my screen now. So you're all going to disappear. If you don't know, at the bottom of your screen, at the bottom, there should be a bar, and along it in the middle is a green button which says share the screen. And when I press that, then you will see my screen going in front of you. You should all hopefully now be able to see my screen.
Yep.
Yeah, good. Right, so now when you're screen sharing, you can choose what it is that you want people to see. So if at the top it says new share, so I do that, and it gives me a choice of what it is that I want to share. I can create a whiteboard, which means we can write on it. We do that when we play Pictionary as a family on Saturday evenings. It means that what you draw with your mouse is visible to everybody else. But in this case, I'm going to go to just what's on my screen. I'm going to change it later on. And I'm going to go to my internet settings. And I'm going to go to my Zoom account. Go into your account, and on the left-hand side, where it says your profile, it says settings. Now, to be able to do this, you need to have a subscription account. It's not enough just to have your 40 minutes for free. And ideally, the best thing is that if the church has an account, or somebody in your church has an account, and you can sign in through that, that's the easiest way to do it. But in settings, if you go all the way down, past the normal ones, past screen sharing, whiteboard, and things like that, meeting reactions, it comes to what's called in-meeting advanced, and things you can do in the bit further on. It says allow live streaming meetings, and you can choose which of those you want to do. So I can stream this meeting into YouTube, Workplace by Facebook, which is a working app, or Facebook, and it means that I can do that. And then once you've done that, you just simply have to click OK. I've modified mine so I can do that, and then that enables you to then to share on your screen to Facebook. And what is shown to Facebook is what's on your laptop or your screen. So that's the limitation of doing it this way, but it does mean people can see what you're doing. So you've now got permission to do that on your screen. And then if you go up onto the top, once you've done that, onto your bar, which you've got normally at the bottom of your screen, but at the moment it's running on the top because I'm screen sharing. As you go along, it's got mute, stop video, security, participants, sharing, pause share. If you pause share, it means that nobody can see your screen, but they can see you. And then across the side it says more, and more gives you the chance to pause recording, stop recording that you're already doing, and various other things. But at the bottom it says live on Facebook, and if you click on that, it then opens up a window and says choose where you want to post your live video. You can share it on your timeline, which is your own personal Facebook feed, or in this case we're going to say share in a group, and you then type in the name of the group. So we run the United Parish of Bardney. You start typing that pops up, and that tells you that your stream will go on to United Parish of Bardney. Click next. Take a few moments to bring up a screen, preparing live stream preview. And then once it's done that, it'll give you the option of giving what you're going to do a title. I tend to do my titling later, but you can add a title for your live broadcast if you want to. It's optional. They tell you that by adding a title, you get more views, but my feed goes to a private group. Our United Parish of Bardney is private, in the sense that people have to ask to join. It's partially because we want to provide a safe space for the people in the parish, but also then it just means that we have a degree of control about what's put on there and what's not put on there, so that we can have various ability to do that. Having done that, you then click Go Live, which is the bottom right blue button. You click Go Live. Don't want to add a title, go live anyway. And always asks you that, even if you put a title on it. I don't know why, but it does. And it says setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. And once that's done, you'll then see your Facebook page, and there on that is David Bartlett is now live in United Parish of Bardney, and people will be able to see what's on my screen. So people in United Parish Bardney are going to wonder why on earth they're watching this, because they don't know it's going to appear, because we've not done that. But so I'm going to come out now of the feeding live onto the Facebook, because at the end of the service or whatever you're doing, you simply go back to that where it says more again, roll down, and where it says stop live stream, you then simply click stop live stream. And then at that point, your live stream has finished. So, is there any questions about that before we move on to the next phase of what we're going to do?
I think I'll look at it afterwards and just refresh my memory.
It's easier to do it is just to when you're in real time when you're doing it. So the first time I did it, I had somebody who had done a video like that, and I just followed their video and did step by step.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't got a subscription at the moment anyway, so.
Yeah. So it's probably best if you as a Bain Valley group or something that you have a subscription. It's probably going to be the most useful tool that we use into the future, I suspect. For eventually, I think they're about to say that PCC meetings and things can take place on Zoom, although you've got to record your decisions by email confirmation and things like that. But it's going to be, I think, the way forward for lots of things. It's much faster doing a PCC meeting on Zoom than it is doing it in person.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Simpler. We had a school governor meeting last week, which finished in just under 50 minutes, whereas normally they're about 2.5 hours, because we did it on Zoom and people were just aware of that.
Do you need to subscribe to Facebook Live?
No, you just need to have a Facebook account and have administrator rights on it. Right. So the United Parish of Bardney, I am the administrator for, and I can make other people administrators for it. So Corinna Language, who's our reader, she can do administration on it as well. And it means that then I just give permission for other people to do that. And that gives you the right to do a live stream onto that feed. Right. You can always live stream onto your own Facebook page. Everybody has the right to do that on their own one. But if you want to do it into a page, you need to have admin rights for that page.
Yeah.
So again, if you've got a Parish of Woodhull Facebook page or something like that, you can feed on stream onto that. Okay, so that's the first bit. That's the technology bit of how to get your services so that it can be seen on various formats. And I'll come back later on to what you do with them once you've finished, and we'll show you a bit about that. But I'm going to go now just to thinking about how we begin to create the content that we want to put onto our Facebook page live. And we've got basically two options. We can either have people talking and things like that and stuff happening in the background, or that you can create content which you then post up onto your Facebook page and people can see what's that. And that's where screen sharing becomes really helpful, because you can create content in advance and show it on your screen. So I use PowerPoint for what I'm doing at the moment. There are various other ways of doing that. OBS broadcast systems of various kinds exist, which work on laptops. There's a really good facility on Facebook called Streamer, but it doesn't, for iPads and tablets called Streamer, but it doesn't work yet at the moment on laptops and desktops. And I'm waiting for them to bring out a desktop app, because that's the best one to use for things like iPads and phones and tablets. But this is the simplest way I've come across, which is why I tend to use it, because simple seems to me always the best way to go if you can do it. That way, less chance of making mistakes. So if I want to create content for a Sunday morning service, the first thing I do is I start thinking about it well in advance. So I have a page, which I started last week. I'm just going to share my screen again, so you know where that's going to go. Share screen, share desktop. And this is a text document which I started working on last week. And this is me beginning to think about next week's service. So this is this Sunday's service. The theme, a title, and possibly just a big picture of what might be going on. I then get the Bible Gateway links. So this is Sunday's lectionary readings. And if you don't know how to do that, very simply what you do to get your Bible Gateway link is you copy the reading you want to get a Bible Gateway link for onto your clipboard. You go onto the internet again, and on the internet you look for, move that out of the way. Wait a minute, I have to do it this way. So you click it, type in Bible Gateway. You choose which version you want to use. I've been using the NIV recently because that seems a good balance between scholarship and accessibility. And you type in the passage or paste in the passage you want to use for this Sunday, and you simply click then search, and it comes up with the reading on that page. Now, if you click into that at the top, the search bar, and click copy, you've then got that link recorded. So that now is on your clipboard, so you can minimize that, go into this document, and underneath this Sunday's readings, I've put this reading. So now that's a link which takes me straight to the Bible Gateway page. What I can then do on my Facebook page is put that up in advance, that link. If you just copy and paste that link into your Facebook page, we'll do the Isaiah passage. Okay. Go to Facebook and where it says create post, click into that, paste that. That's the link, and that passage, that picture then comes up onto your Facebook page. So on Sunday morning, I do that in such a way that everybody can see what's going to happen. And what you can do with that is you can set that to post that in advance. So that's done today. So that's on my page, not on the United Parish page. So I'll delete that for a moment. Go to our Facebook page in National Parish. If you click into it this time, click paste, because I'm the administrator on this page, I can at the bottom, one of the options you can see is that little clock next to post, and it says schedule post.
I didn't realise you could do that.
And if you click that, you then can tell it which date you want to do. So I want to do this on the 2nd of August, which is next Sunday. And I want people to have a chance to read it before the service starts. So I aim it to come on. We start ours, we go live at 10 o'clock and we start at 10:15. So if I say I want to do that at 9:30, schedule, at 9:30 next Sunday, that reading will appear on my Facebook feed. So then people can look at it in advance. So I put all 4 readings for next Sunday up there. And I also put the Zoom link for next Sunday, appears on the Facebook page half an hour beforehand. We don't make our Zoom link public to the wider world. It simply goes to those who are subscribed to either our weekly emails or to the Facebook page. Because we want to, again, make sure that the Zoom meeting is safe and that people who come in are people who we have some degree of connection with. Again, for the also security of those who you are part of. So having done that, you put your readings, got those ready. Then during the week, I just as I'm going around, I'll pick up ideas and thoughts about hymns. So I've got some ideas for hymns for next week already in my mind. Perhaps an image which comes to mind. So I pinched this image of Roots on the web, and they're good resources. There's lots of really good resources you can use. And then there's some prayers and things I've begun to gather and collect. And I do that on a Word document so that they're all in one place, and then it's just open. I just have it open on my desktop. And when I think about it during the week, I just get that ready to go. The next thing I have to do is think about how I'm going to do my music. And the way we've done it is that we have tried where possible to use local musicians and to do it simply. There are really good resources which you can use, Engage Worship, Resound Worship, Uwine, and various other Christian organisations have made their resources available for you. But you do need a CCLI streaming license if you're going to use them, and the other CCLI data that's around permissions you need as well. But what I do is I ask one of our local musicians if they will record for me them playing a hymn. Now, we've got one of them who simply records, and I have to go into church with him and use my phone, and he plays it on the organ, and I record him using my phone. Your mobile phone is a really good recording device and also video device. The camera on it is excellent, the microphone on it is excellent. So it's a really useful tool to use. So I record Paul in church. David Alsop, who's one of my other organists, he's a head teacher in a school up at Gainsborough. He's really good. So he sends me a text-ready video, so that the video he sends me has already got the audio on it and has already got the words on it. So I just have to copy that into a document, into a PowerPoint. But what I do for Hugh Sutton, who's somebody else who's one of our other organists, he sends me the music with him singing, and then I have to add the lyrics to it. And so I'm going to show you how you can add lyrics onto a song that somebody sent you, or if you just want to use Spotify or one of those music providing services to download a music folder and then be able to do that. So I'm going to create a PowerPoint now. And the PowerPoint, I'm going to start a blank presentation. The first thing I do is I clear my PowerPoint and I duplicate my slide. And the reason for that will be clear in a moment. It just saves time when you're doing that. So the first thing I need to do is find my music. I have already on my screen, we recorded last week something called The Blessing. It's a blessing we use in our all-age worship service, and we are using to get people to sing along, and we're going to try and create a Barden blessing in the future, which means that we're inviting people to record themselves singing along to it. So at the first page of your PowerPoint, where you've got your audio file, which is an MP4A or MP3, or in this case, I've got a WAV document, and I simply drag it into, I'll do it. Yeah. So that now appears on your screen. And the first thing you do is you go up to where it says playback, and you click, first of all, how do you want it to start? You want it to start automatically. You can do it so it does click, but automatically is usually easier. And then the next thing, and this is the important one, you say play across slides. So the reason for that is that will then play as an audio file in the background of all the files all the slides that you make up. And I'm just going to press play on it for a moment. The first thing you notice is that there's a bit of a pause before it starts. So what I want to do is to make it a bit crisper on the start. So again, you have while you're in playback mode there, you have something called trim audio. And what comes up then is you have a picture of the sound, and you can simply click play. So the music starts about there, so I'll just move that back a little bit, check I'm in the right place. So it's about 5 minutes 60. So I'm going to take it back to 5 seconds, just a bit before then. And then you move that yellow bar up to there. Click trim. And then now what happens? It comes straight in. And you can do the same at the end of the video, the audio, if it goes on too long at the end. And if that's something you've recorded yourself or someone recorded for you, you may just need to do that. The next thing you need to do is think about what will it look like. A white screen like that doesn't look very good. So I'm got a good collection. I have my own selection of photographs because I'm a photographer, and so I can use my own pictures. For some reason it's not to do that, so I'm just going to minimize that. So I've chosen my pictures in advance. It's easier to do that, but if not, you can just, particularly in your own photograph collection, there is a good library of photographs you can use online, which are free. I've got friends who are photographers, and if they've got nice pictures on Facebook, I ask them if I can copy it and I save it onto a folder for me to use for later on. So these are my own pictures because I've got permission to use them, and you simply click and drag it from wherever you want. I've got it. And you put it into the screen. Make sure it fills the whole screen. And then what you want to do is you want to insert onto that, in this case, a title. So text box, draw your text box, and you think about what it might look like. So you go home. It's a dark background, so you change the font to a light font, so I'm going white. The size it's going to be. Calibri is quite a nice font to use, it's fairly clear, and text size 28. So this is called The Blessing of God. I can't type, by the way. And then you need to find out who it's by. Who's it by? In our case, this song was written by John McPherson. So again, I just copy and paste and put that on there as well. That didn't work properly. Go back. Doesn't like copying and pasting on that, so I'll do that, and then I'll put the blessing back in at the beginning. And then what I normally do is put who's playing it. So in that case, it was recorded by David, just remade the music for that one, and you put it there. And then later on at the end, you're going to put your CCLI copyright license on the last page, and you're also going to put the name of the person who provided the photographs, if you've got photographs either from just yours or from other people, so people know who they come from. The next thing you want to do is put the lyrics on. So I've got the lyrics prepared in advance, and I simply copy and paste them into the document. You can do it by insert and copy the text that way, but on most of these things you can simply copy and then just drag across into PowerPoint. It saves you so much time rather than copying and inserting all the time. It's easier that way. And then what I do is I duplicate that slide because I want to break up the text, because there's two parts of it. So the first bit of the song is the blessing of God. So I want to keep that, but the chorus I want to keep separate for the moment and do on a separate slide. So I'll simply do that. And then on the second slide, I'll do that. So that's the verse and the chorus. In this case, we've recorded it so that the chorus and the verse are repeated twice. So I'll tell you how to do that in a moment. Next thing you need to do is think about the pictures that you're going to use. Again, I've chosen these in advance, but you can do it anytime you like. So you click in the picture, drag it across, and again you use it to fill the screen. And then what you want to do is see the text. So you go to send to back, and you send the picture backwards, and the text will appear. And then it's simply a matter of moving the text to somewhere on your screen where it's visible and it's not too distracted by the background. And it's often about a contrast in colour to the background. I want to make the text of that slightly bigger so that it's more visible. I'll make it 28. See what that's like. I just want to move it probably down there slightly because I think that's going to be more visible. That's a good place to put it. It looks all right there. A darker background is better to do like that. And then we wanted the same with the chorus. I've got another picture for that one. I'll put that on there. And exactly the same thing. So you fill the screen with it. You don't have to do this in this order. Some people put the picture in first and then insert the text. It doesn't really matter which way round. It's just a matter of your personal preference. And then send backwards. Again, the same principle. And then you just get the text to the colour you want it and the size you want it. 28. And then again, you think about where it fits best onto the picture, bearing in mind what you can see. The only thing to remember is that when you live stream, and if you're sharing your screen, people will be able to see your picture, what you're on your camera also up here. So they'll see your face in that sort of space on the screen. So just be aware of that. And then again, because I want to have an end, I'll duplicate that. Okay. Duplicate slide. I'm going to move that to the end. Delete that one, and then simply in another text box, insert text box. Color white, and we say picture by David Bartlett. Again, I can't spell, you've noticed. I can't type. And then CC-LI number, which is, I had it a minute ago. So you type in your CC-LI number, which is 834488, and then that way it shows that it's the license is for the reproduction of the lyrics, but also for the streaming of it. So that's why we've got that. You need to have a streaming license. So having done that,
David, can I just ask? Is that for the whole group, or is that just for one church?
Ours is for Bardney Church.
Right. Okay.
Something like that. They won't let you have an individual copyright license for a United Parish.
Right.
One of our complaints sometimes. So we've done it for the United Parish, for Bardney Church, which is the largest of our churches. And if other people from the other churches happen to see it, well, that's unfortunate, but we can't do anything about it. That's the way we tend to work it. So you've got your slides together. We want to have 2 verses. So what I'm doing again is I duplicate that slide and I move it after the chorus. And again, I want to duplicate the chorus slide and I move that down underneath the next verse. So then you've got intro slide, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse. And then you need to think about what goes in between. So you go to transitions. I do a fade, apply to all, which means that once you've done it once, it applies to all the slides. And then just how long do you want the fade to be? I find somewhere between 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds is about right. This is quite slow, so I'm going to do 2 seconds on that. And then, having done that, you go to click in the first slide and you click slideshow. Mm. When you click slideshow, one of the buttons there, it says record slideshow. Okay. So what you want to do is record that, and straight away you will start the slideshow and the music will start. And very simply, you just advance the slide appropriate to the lyrics of the song. So we'll do that. The introduction start. So you've now recorded your slideshow. Do you want to save the slideshow that you just recorded? Yes, and that's now recorded. Then this is really one of the clever things about PowerPoint, which you may not realize, is if you click on the File button on PowerPoint and go down to Export, if you click Export, it gives you, first of all, the title. So this is the Blessings lyric. That way I know what it is. I want to save it in my desktop. Bartlett. Save it on desktop. Knowing where you saved it is really important, because when it comes to putting it into your PowerPoint for presentation, you need to know where it is, but also you need to keep it there till after you've done your presentation, because it looks for it in the place where it was when you first recorded it, and put it into your PowerPoint. Now the file format you want to save in at the bottom, it says choose your file format. If you click on that button there, it gives you a choice. MP4 is the best of those file formats. MP4 is a video file format. .mov is also a video format, but it's much more higher resolution, and you don't need it for this, and it takes up a lot more space on your computer and a lot more power to present it. So you save it as an MP4, and that tells you the presentation quality you want it, and you can choose that: internet quality, low quality. Go presentation quality. It's always the best. Use the best you can. Make sure it says use the recorded timings and narrations, because otherwise it will just do that. And then you click export, and then that will begin to save your and then on the right hand side you can just see where it's got MPEG-4, and there's a little folder there appeared, and it says blessings, and that will, in a few moments, the picture on that will come up, and that will say that it successfully recorded that as a movie. If it goes wrong when you begin to do it, it doesn't matter, because you can always just start again. So that's now clicked. That now is a movie which I can play. Open like that. And the advantage of doing that, it means that when you're coming to do your service, is that you don't have to keep on pressing slides during the video. So we'll stop that for a moment, and we'll begin to think about how we create our actual service video. So I'm going to create now a new file. a new presentation, and that's for this week. And again, first thing I want to think about is, what do I want my slide to look like? Well, I want it first of all to have a picture which is something to do with the theme for the week. So you may remember on that slide, on that Word document I had earlier, I had a picture of pizza. And I thought that's a good modern equivalent of bread and fishes. So I'm going to use that as my theme through all my slides. So I'm going to copy and paste that into this document. And I'm going to fill half my slide with this. It's my preferred style I've been using over lockdown, so that you've got a style which is the same for everything you do. It just makes life easier. If you, I've got two pictures, for some reason it didn't paste again. And then you need to think about the slide color. So you go to design, and click in there, and it gives you a choice of, if you click into that one there, click that button there, and it gives you a choice of colors. And you go to background styles, and you choose color you want. Or if you want to change the color of the background, you click background styles and format background. And then there's a bar appears on the right hand side, and you can choose the color you want. So in this case, I think a sort of a pizza-y color might be quite good. And you can play around and decide which color, which shade you think works best for that particular picture image that you've got. I think that's probably quite a good color to use for that. And then simply, again, it's one of these little shortcuts which is useful if you know to you double click into your PowerPoint slide, then a little text box will open. Welcome, the Trinity 8. Can't spell, can I? And your title. Supplement, Jesus. And then you've got that as your basic format. Now what you do is, if you duplicate that once, you delete that particular slide, and then you just simply duplicate it all the way down. So you're using the same slide all the way down. You can do it in view and select all and duplicate that way, but this is just a cheap way of doing it. And then simply I copy and paste my liturgy, the words I want to use, my notices and things into this document. And then that's is sort of the format for the service, so that then when it comes to Sunday morning, I just simply show my screen and put the PowerPoint onto the screen. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. The thing you need to know is about how you then put a video in on PowerPoint. And again, it's important as you do this to remember that once you put the video in the PowerPoint, don't move it until after you've done your presentation, because it'll look for the video and it's not there. So in this case, I've done the blessing. What I tend to do, you don't have to, it's my way, I tend to put the videos that are pre-recorded on the other side of the screen. It just seems, it pleases my aesthetic qualities. So I get my video of the blessing song and I drag it into the PowerPoint, and it'll fill up the whole screen. What I do is I just minimize the screen again, and I insert a title, so I know what's on that screen. The big problem with anything like this is you keeping track of where you are. So what I do is I put titles on anything which isn't obvious in the PowerPoint. So the blessing, I know it's the song, but also I print out on Sunday morning just before I start, because I may change at the last moment, just a simple picture of all the slides in order, so I can see and follow where I am on the screen, so I know what's coming next. Having got the title, got the video in, you double click in the video and it will come up there on the top, video format and playback. Video format is fine, you don't need to do that, but on playback, Again, you need to decide, do you want to prepare it in advance, so you introduce it, or do you want it to start as soon as you go to the slide? I do automatically, and then click play in full screen. It means that when you go onto the slide, it will fill the whole screen, and people will be able to see everything that's there. So you've done that, and you begin to people the presentation with your liturgy and with your slides. I tend to try and get people in advance to record the Bible readings for me. And I also suggest that they send them via WhatsApp. If you haven't got WhatsApp on your screen, it's really useful because people can then send directly from their phone and you can access it on your computer. So I've got the WhatsApp up on my laptop. And that will load. And then I know who's sending me the PowerPoints that are going on. So I want to get to, this is the songs which they sent me last week. So Hugh and Lulu recorded for me 2 songs last week, Meekness and Majesty and Rejoice, Rejoice. Now, if I double click into Rejoice, Rejoice, it comes up like that. And you'll notice at the top there, there's a little arrow. And once it starts playing, rejoice, rejoice. I'll take the volume down. If you click that arrow, it says download. Click download, download completed, and then you can open it. And it's now on your computer. So you can close that. And then you've got, that scene. So I've now got the video. I then change the title because I want it to be what I want it to be. So that's Rejoice. And that's now, that's now titled that, so I know what it is. It's in my download folder, so I want to save it to a different place. I'll save it to my desktop. But what you can also do, if you don't want the video and you just want the audio file, you can again click File on your media player, and there will be somewhere like that, Export As. And in this case, I want audio only, so export audio only, and then you've got an audio file which you can then embed in your PowerPoint when you do that. But if you're downloading, someone doing the Bible reading for you, you download it and then you just save it onto your desktop and then drag it into your PowerPoint again, so you've got someone doing the Bible reading. So you just simply build up your service that way. I'm just going to show you the service we did on Sunday, because that way you can see one which is complete. Recent. 26, we'll do read and weeks, that's the other week. So that was our service, not last Sunday, this Sunday, but the Sunday before last. And you've got a whole section, so you've got a prayer on a background, you've got a video, Shine Jesus Shine. And then when it comes to presenting your service, you set this up on your screen beforehand, so you've got ready to go. And you talk to people. So as a church, you gather on Zoom, and you've set it to go live on Facebook. And I tend to, before we start the service, do gallery view, so everybody can see each other and talk to each other, and you get some really inane and silly comments going on, and jokes about cricket or what's going on and things like that. People say hello to each other. You see people you've not seen all week, so it's a really nice experience to do that. Seeing faces is really lovely, and it's one of the things I think we've missed most about it. And then at the right time, you simply say, I'm now going to start our service, telling everybody that they're live on Facebook so that they know. And then I usually say hello to those who are watching us on Facebook. We've got half a dozen people who watch on Facebook only. They don't like Zoom, but they do watch it live. We then get, over the course of a Sunday, probably another 30 to 40 people who watch it at some point during the Sunday on Facebook Live, and then another 10 or 12 who watch it on YouTube. And then during the week, we get up to the stage where by the end of the week, some people watch it on Monday evening and Tuesday morning. So we're up to about 50 or 60 views by the middle of the week of the service we do. And half of those are people who wouldn't normally be church goers, because actually our normal Sunday service is about 30. So we're reaching people in the villages mainly who wouldn't normally go to church. So you tell them you're going to share you're going live on Facebook. You say hello to everybody on Facebook. It's nice to see you. Glad you can join us, and things like that. And then you simply share your screen. And when you click share your screen, this time what you can do is you says share PowerPoint. So I want to share my PowerPoint. Then at the bottom, you've got two things. Optimize screen share for video clip. Because you're using videos within the service, you need to share computer sound and optimize screen share for video clips. That gives the best quality presentation in what you're going to do. And simply then share. You've got your PowerPoint there. Click slideshow. Play from the start, and then everybody else can see your screen. And that simply goes through. And then if, for example, I want to do a bit of a talk, stop share, I can go back to there. Or if you want to, screen share, PowerPoint, share. You can also pause share. You see that button there? That means I pause the share. And start again. So that's the way it works. And then simply either using your mouse, you click through the slide so everybody can see all the words, and then you can say join in with me, or you can lead them in praying, however you want to do that. Then that's the first song comes. One of the unfortunate things about this at the moment in the way that PowerPoint and Zoom works is that your screen is still sharing and your computer still sharing, which means if you sing along, then people will hear what you're singing. I tell everybody else to mute their screens when we sing, not because they can't sing, but simply because it's not in time with everything else, because there's a delay across Zoom. And it doesn't sound very good when you've got 100 people singing at the same time, and it's all not quite in tune with each other, not quite in time with each other. But you do the prayers, you do the songs. I encourage them to unmute themselves when we're not singing, so they can join in with responses and prayers. I tend to get the people to join in as many prayers as possible, because I think it's much easier to make it an interactive experience rather than just something which I'm doing to people. It's something which we're joining in together. Sometimes I want to say something which is not scripted, so I give myself a blank screen, and it means I can talk over it. It's a prayer we can do together, a prayer of confession. And sometimes during those blank screen moments, I invite people to recognize that God is with them. That one of the hardest things I think for people at this stage is to realize that God is quite happy with social distancing. He'll still be with us in our homes wherever we are, and he wants to meet with us. And part of what we're doing is creating a space for them in their homes and their day where they might meet with God. And God will meet with people if they ask him, and if we help them create that space. So we're simply encouraging people to stop where they are and take a few moments to recognize God's presence. And we can do that just simply by encouragement, but also sometimes by the actions we do and the support we give. I do the church notices.
1, 2,
This is the
3.
reading of the week.
Right, your reading today is taken from Romans chapter 8, verses 12 to
This is
25.
Marilyn. And again, we use people who everybody knows, so that, and I try and get as many different people to do it, either to WhatsApp it to me, or I sometimes go out and record them if they're close by or they can't use their technology. But it's really helpful for others to see familiar faces. I'm going to come out of screen share now. And that's basically how you do the service. What you then need to just be aware of is two things. First of all, what I need to do is share my screen again. Sorry, a desktop. Close my PowerPoint. Where's that for the moment? Just go to Facebook. So in your Facebook page, you will find on the left-hand side, it says videos. Facebook automatically records when you do a live stream onto it, it automatically records it. So even if you forget to press record on your Zoom feed, the Facebook page will automatically record it for you, and it will then appear in the video section. And about a minute and a half after you've finished your live stream, it'll be available for others to watch. I also post up onto our Facebook page all the songs which we've used and the people who've reading individually, so that people can click into the ones which they liked or redo again, and things like that. But in your service, if you click on something like that's this Sunday service, which we've just done, don't need to watch it. On the top right hand side, there's three little dots. Click on the three dots, and one of the options on that is download video. If you click on that, it'll download the video from Facebook onto your desktop again. You can then go to YouTube. And I've got a YouTube account. It's easy to set up a YouTube account on Google. As long as you've got a Gmail account, you can set up your own YouTube account. You do that, and you go to your channel. On your channel, I've got various things. You've got on that page what's called YouTube Studio. If you click on that, that will then show you all the things you can do. What we want to do is create. So I click create, and it says upload video. So I click upload video, and I simply drag the video I want to record. So this is this blessing song we've just recorded. I'll put that on there, and it does that. And once it gets that happy, it'll start to show you that screen. Give it a title, tell something about it, and it'll ask you to tell them whether you made it for children or not. If it's not made for children, click that. And if it's made for children, they will give you age restrictions, and you've got to choose which those ones are as part of their child protection devices. You click next. This wasn't made for children. Ignore that screen. You don't need to worry about it. And then simply you decide whether you're going to make it public, private, or unlisted. It means anybody with your permission can watch it, but nobody will find it just by looking for it. And then if you want to, you can schedule when that goes live. And we record our Sunday service, and we put that up on Facebook. I'm going to stop loading that up for the moment. It just does it automatically from there. So we've got on our folder at the moment, this is this Sunday service, and anybody can watch it. So we've had 4 people watch Sunday service already. We put it up on Sunday morning. 4 people have watched it already, and then they've also looked at the hymns. The people have been looking at the hymns and things like that as well. So that's how you record onto YouTube. So that's basically how we do our Sunday morning live streams. And at this stage, it's then simply saying, do that, I want to do that. Come back to here. Any questions? Any comments? Anything you want to say?
If you were in church and you wanted to live stream what you were doing in church, would you do that on Zoom, or would you record that on your phone and live stream it that way?
Neither of those are really good solutions. Phone is better than Zoom, so I would stream that from my phone directly to Facebook Live. So I wouldn't go through Zoom, but the camera on your phone and your microphone on your phone are good at close range. But it's not good if you're sitting halfway down the congregation and you're trying to video the vicar doing the service at the front or something like that. So how you include, and if you're trying to read the service and you've got the phone, then that's really hard to do that. So the ideal way would be, I would suggest you get 1 or 2 people in the congregation to video it for you while you're doing it, and then ask them to put it up on Facebook Live after, as just upload a video. If you want to go on to live streaming your service, you need to think about getting a decent video camera and doing it that way. And then you get into using broadcasting suites and things like that, which are great. There's some really lovely, simple OBS suites you can download for free and use, and you simply record your service, or you can stream it live. If you stream it live, you've got to have Wi-Fi in your church. don't use your 4G connection because you'll lose so much of your data allowance doing 4G. It's really difficult. So I would suggest you think about getting Wi-Fi in a church, and we're just exploring how we can do that at the moment in our church, because it'll make life easier into the future.
So even if you do record your service as Scilla has suggested, or rather that you suggested, Scilla, is Facebook the best medium to publish it? I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear what other people.
I would put it on as many platforms as I can. Yeah. So we do ours on Facebook and on YouTube, and there are other platforms as well. You can also make it available as a link. You can email it to people. It's a big file, but you can put it on Dropbox for people to download in their own homes if they don't want to go on social media. There's all various ways you can do it. But if we're in the business of helping people to access content, then we put it as many places as we can and make it as available to as many people as we can who we think will be helped by it. So it's just put it wherever you can.
So you can put it onto YouTube without it going onto Facebook, then, presumably.
Yes, you can do. You can put it on. You can once you've got it on your phone, you can put it onto your desktop or from your phone, and you can either load it onto Facebook or onto YouTube or onto both of them.
You would need to have a Wi-Fi connection to the church too.
Well, no, you can do it at home straight after. If you've recorded it on your phone, you go home and you just do it straight away there. If you've got Wi-Fi, you've got good 4G in your church, you could just about do it. But it uses up all your bandwidth using your 4G to do that. It's a lot of data. A single song video, which I'm using, is about 86 megabits. A whole service is near about 2 gigabytes. So that's a lot of data in one go. If you've got to have a good data allowance on your phone if you can do it that way.
Does anybody else have a situation in which a lot of our congregations feel that Facebook is an agent of the devil and wouldn't go near Facebook, and oh no, we're not going on Facebook, and oh no. Yeah. Am I the only one that has that?
No, we have people who don't use it. So again, you can YouTube it, you can WhatsApp it if you want to. The quality is not so good on WhatsApp, but you can WhatsApp from with the WhatsApp that I use on here. I can put what I've got on my desktop laptop onto WhatsApp for people to look at. You can do it that way. You can do it from your phone to somebody else's phone. There are lots of ways you can if people really want to watch it, they will join in. Very often, actually, I find that people who say they don't want to engage with it. It's not that they. We do our resources. So we do a weekly mailing, which goes out by post to those who haven't got any way of accessing technology. We do a daily email of daily prayers and resources, and then also on Sunday. So that there are lots of resources we're sending out of lots of different ways to as many people who want to have them. But we're not going to force people to do it because
no. What I've done basically is we're still publishing a monthly parish magazine, and I have done for the whole of August a brief, list the lectionary readings for every Sunday in the month, and done a very brief couple of 100 words on one of those readings, really, as the most effective way that I can think of communicating to people who have no desire to get involved in technology.
Yeah, and I think there's a question which we have to ask ourselves between, is there desire to not get involved in technology, in which case are they being, the email keeps them in touch or the letter keeps them in touch, but there's lots of other ways they can access services, songs of praise,
that's absolutely
Radio 4. I've got somebody who doesn't want to do technology, but she listens, she tells me to the live service on the radio every Monday morning, and songs of praise. So if that's satisfying her spiritual life, that's fine.
Well, no, you're right, actually.
And I think we've got to resist the temptation to pander to everybody in every way possible. We're trying to do as much, the best we can, and otherwise you'll spend all your time just providing services on the internet rather than in other ways, rather than doing the other stuff that you need to do as well. One of the things we can do, and this is what we're doing over August, is we're going to not live stream Zoom. we're simply going to pre-record our services and make them available at 10:15 on a Sunday morning to give everybody a month off. Because actually doing services this way takes a lot more time and energy than it does doing it live. If on a Sunday morning, if I want to have a particular hymn in church, I simply say to my organist, could you play this for me? It's hymn number so-and-so, here's a book, and people can join in. If I want to do it online, I've got to think about it. I've got to communicate that to them. They've then got to send me a video file back, which they've made. I've then got to put lyrics to it. So it becomes a much more time-consuming activity to prepare worship online. Therefore, you need to give yourself spaces to do that. If you can do it with a team, that's easier. So over August, I've got 3 different people doing reflections. We don't do sermons online, we do reflections. It reduces pressure on those who are talking, but also expectation on those who are listening. We've got different people already recording the services, recording the readings and things for me, the hymns, and then we'll just make all the services in advance and schedule them to come up live. So that's the easiest way of doing it.
How long are your services online then, David?
With the Zoom element before and after, we're an hour, but the actual service is about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're still about 4 hymns, sometimes 5 hymns. The reflections are different. I sometimes use a video to illustrate. One advantage of doing it online is, I put a video in because it made sense in terms of the theme, or a short testimony from somebody else. If you want to do it, you can be more creative in that. We've got people around in the village who've been very creative with both with songs and with videos. We've got Dave the Sheep has appeared in Bardney, which is a children's video about the stories of Dave the Sheep, which started on Good Friday. And Sarah, who produces that, does one every couple of weeks. And if they're good, I use those in my Sunday service. Although they're for children, adults enjoy it as well. So you speak to the people who produce things, say, can I use that? There are really good resources for songs if you don't want to get your own musicians to do it, and often very easily available.
Kevin Mayhew's are good.
Yes.
No organ, no problem. Those CDs are excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are always solutions. It's having the will to find them becomes the issue, and having the confidence to say that it doesn't matter if I mess up. Harry will tell you, I'm very good at messing up, aren't I, Harry? Your microphone's off.
Yeah, we have problems with the lines sometimes and things. It's quite complicated sometimes, but it works quite well. It works very well. Mm-hmm. And it's any consolation, Andrew, I don't do Facebook at all. I wouldn't know how. I try and click on it and they want a phone number and I haven't got it. So
2 months we couldn't hear Harry. We could only see him because he didn't have he said we could hear him, couldn't see him because he didn't have a camera on his computer.
Yeah. Mine's really dirty. I don't know how to clean it actually, but that's why I'm soft focused.
If you get a little bit of just ordinary washing up liquid, on soapy water on a damp cloth and wipe it across and then dry it, or just a window cleaner type.
Okay, right. I'll give that a go.
A non-abrasive cleaning solution.
Right. Okay. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but it's becoming apparent to me. I think, as you just said, David, you can't get yourself too, stressed out about it. Your congregation are going to have to try and meet you in the middle somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if people don't make an effort to engage, then you can't reach everybody, can you?
And realistically, if this is going to go on, as I think it is going to be at least until next year, we're going to, we've sort of agreed as a church at the moment, and we're going to discuss it again in September, is that we will start going back into the building in September, but we will still keep an online service going every Sunday at 10:15.
We had our first yesterday morning, and at Revesby, and I was really chuffed with it actually. I really enjoyed it. We had a good turnout, but obviously you can't be in two places at once. You can't be preparing an internet service and doing a morning service in a church at the same time.
Yeah.
You know?
And so we will need to have a discussion. Your churches will need to have
Yes,
discussions about
indeed.
the timings of things. My suspicion is that we will end up doing a morning service sort of live in a church, sort of 9 o'clock or something like that, or 11:30 or something like that, or that we'll move the live service on Facebook to slightly earlier so we can go into church and do something there. Or perhaps we might do evensong, an evening service, and a midweek communion. Those are options.
What Gareth is doing at the moment, he's doing, because we are open at the moment for communion service in a variation of different churches over the course of the month. But what he's doing is in the afternoon, he's doing a live stream on at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
We thought that the figures would alter as to how many views he's getting, because we were getting about 200 views during the course of the lockdown. He's still getting 250 views, even though it's changed to 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So people will still tune in because it's something that they're needing and they're wanting.
Yeah. And they can also join in at other times as well, and that's the advantage of it. You know, we've got people who work in shops and care homes and prison and things like that. So I was having a Facebook conversation with messenger conversation with someone last night who works in one of the prisons, who had come off shift last night, and she described it was watching it in a dressing gown with a cup of chocolate and gin set in separate glasses. watching the service, you know. And I said the advantage of these mediums is that you can when you've got a difficult lifestyle of work and things like that, you can join in when you like. And also I'm accessing people who were unable to get to church in recent years because of disability and other issues.
I think that's more of a point.
And so they're feeling much more included in what's going on. And things like that. So it's an accessibility issue as well. And making content.
At the moment when people are very frightened about, some people are still very frightened about going out of their homes at all.
I'm going to have to leave you, folks.
Coming up to 10 to 11. So if we,
I'm going to have to leave you. Nice seeing you all.
I'm just going to stop recording.
Cheers.
All the best.
I'm just going to stop recording, and if you want to go, then please do so. But if you want to hang on for 5 minutes, I'll stay till people have finished asking questions.